Okay. This is not a power rankings. I don't do power rankings in alphabetical order, nor am I going to try to defend my power rankings because I update them every single day. You guys get the snapshot on a Saturday night, and then we move on. And I've already moved on to whatever's going to happen next week. So, um, I was actually kind of surprised people were more upset by how some teams have really dramatically gone up or some have really fallen. But all right. So let's talk about my fandom. What makes me cheer for a team? You know what? This is my second take on this one, and I'm going to do this one a little differently than the first one. So what makes me cheer for a team? No, not winning, losing. Yeah, it's a weird thing. I cheer for underdogs. So and if a team has been really good the year before and they're really struggling and then they kind of have this movement and things are good, I'm probably going to start cheering for them. So underdogs, which means I'm going to cheer for them um, when they're playing well and they're on a nice little run. Carolina and Arizona are the first ones that come to mind. Colorado, obviously, they were an underdog coming into this year. If anybody's asking why not Buffalo, because I haven't cheered for Buffalo. Detroit, no. Based on all the Stanley Cups I've seen Detroit win, no. Them being an underdog, my reaction is it's about time. Florida gets a plus there. Minnesota, because they were kind of left for dead midway through the year. Remember when they got healthy, and I said they got healthy, they'll start playing better, and then they struggled early on, and there were some Wild fans who said, Shannon, you're wrong. They're not playing better, but they got better. Montreal may be an underdog. It's not happening. Jersey, yes. Despite all of the comments about whether or not I hate New Jersey, and somewhere along the way that's become like this thing. I hated Jersey back in the mid '90s for the trap because they brought in the trap and it just killed hockey. They won a Stanley Cup in '95, and all the coaches went, "Well, we could do that. We could stop other teams from scoring. I guess we can give that a shot." And scoring just dropped right off the map. So that was my only gripe with New Jersey was that they every game they played seemed to be shots 24-20, and you're falling asleep and you're like, oh, it's a Jersey game, and then Minnesota picked it up and other expansion teams picked it up and scoring dropped off the map. But as an underdog, I'm pulling for them this year. I had that with the Islanders and they would have got the check mark, but they've been so crap lately. And the Rangers right now they get that. They've played relatively well since the deadline. The win-loss record isn't as good as some people seem to think it is. I've again going back to the power rankings. The win-loss record hasn't been fantastic. It's been better, but they're still losing some games that leave me thinking that there's a lot of work left to be done with the Rangers. We'll put it that way. Ottawa, they've always got the underdog status. It's hard to cheer for them right now, but I'll try. Philly, absolutely. Philly was disrespected by the hockey guy coming into this year, and he said they wouldn't make the playoffs, so let's prove that prick wrong. Um, Vegas, underdog because they're expansion team. Washington, underdog because, well, they're Washington. We know they're not going to win anything, right? And Winnipeg. Because coming into this year, they'd never won in the playoffs. So what else is going to make me cheer for a team? What else would have changed between October and now, watching as many games as possible where I'd be like, man, I'm actually cheering for this team? Young, exciting players. Anaheim gets the plus there. Arizona's got some of that going on. Boston's definitely got that going on. Buffalo, when Eichel plays, and Reinhart, the way he's been playing, absolutely. There's a lot of good players in Calgary. I have concerns about their depth in pretty much every area of the game. Carolina's fun to watch, even when they're losing. The Hawks are in need of an overhaul, and they have DeBrincat, and they have Vinny Hinostroza, and I will get to something that'll give them a plus after I've gone through this round. Colorado has some of the best young forwards in the game. Dallas has an exciting attack, and there are some young guys who are being worked in. And I think of Fox, I think of Janmark. So there's something to look at there. And Detroit, for all the talk about Dylan Larkin a year ago, Larkin looks pretty damn good. So I know the point totals aren't where they're going to end up. So you can still tear them down and say, oh, well, look, Larkin's only got 9 goals and blah, blah, blah. But they're good. The Oilers, when they're on their game, they still have 2 of the most exciting young forwards in the league and some other guys who can complement them when they decide to. Florida's fun to watch. They are definitely fun to watch. LA, fun to watch. I wouldn't say there's a lot of young. I mean, there's Iafallo, absolutely, but I sort of hesitant on that one. Minnesota's got a very solid forward core. Montreal, I don't think they're going to get a plus. Nashville, there's always young guys coming into the lineup. Jersey, absolutely. Barzell with the Islanders gives them a plus right off the bat. The Rangers now, absolutely. Ottawa, there's a lot of okay players, middling players. I don't know that there's a lot of youthful, exuberant, young. That's coming for the Ottawa Senators. Not there now. Philly, that blue line alone, absolutely. Pittsburgh, I don't cheer for them, but yeah, they've always got good young forwards coming in. Look at Zach Aston Reese. He comes in, plays great, and goes right back to the minors. How many teams in the NHL do that? Have a rookie come in, score goals, put up points, and then send him back to the minors? Because we don't really need this guy right now. All he is a point-producing forward. And you can say, well, he scores them with Crosby, which is fine if that's the case, or with Malkin, and that's the case. But still, the fact that Pittsburgh keeps producing these guys is kind of obnoxious. San Jose, sure. I'll give them points for LeBanc and Meyer right now. St. Louis has got some issues. Tampa's always got exciting young forwards. Braden Point. Toronto, absolutely. Vancouver, when Besser's playing, I got Horvat. When Berchi's healthy, Vancouver's been brutal lately because they have too many guys injured. Vegas isn't as young as you might think they would be. However, Tuck's been fun. I like Carpenter, and yeah. So some unexpectedly good forwards. Give them the plus. Washington, without the young guys that have come in and played well, like Juice is a good example, Vrana, and Burakovsky stepping up his game a bit. Without that, Washington is nowhere this year. And Winnipeg's got youth up the yin-yang. They're fine. And now I'll give check marks to teams that I found myself cheering for that I didn't expect at the start of the year. Anaheim. Ryan Miller gets added. The team loses some close ones early, and I realize that they're playing well enough to win, but they're just not getting those wins. They get healthy, and even though Kessler and Perry are there, and Kessler and Perry are two of my least favorite players, I wouldn't say they're the key reasons that Anaheim's in the playoff race right now. Kessler's playing well. He's not getting the goals. Perry's getting the goals. It's up to Anaheim fans to decide whether or not he's not necessarily playing extremely well. I expected to cheer for Boston, but I didn't expect them to be this good. And I admit that. Fully, completely admit that. I knew I'd be cheering for Carolina. Colorado, I had no idea how much fun it was going to be to watch Colorado this year, and they've really got me on board. Columbus, yes, make the playoffs twice in a row, please. I knew I'd cheer for Dallas because Dallas reasons, because I'm a Dallas fan because I like masochism. Detroit, I haven't found myself unexpectedly cheering for it, nor Edmonton. They would have got that check mark last year. Florida gets that check mark because, yeah, Luongo. And Reimer at times, too. And Sateri, when he came in. Like, Florida's had some unexpected stories. Dadonov has been a really good example of that as well. While we were all talking about Shipachev and what he'd do for Vegas, Dadonov came over and did for Florida what Shipachev was supposed to do for Vegas. LA, I can't say I found myself cheering for them unusually. Minnesota, yes. Because up until this year, I've always found Minnesota to be kind of boring to watch. But, yeah, they've been sort of fun this year. Montreal, no. Nashville, I expected to be cheering for them. Jersey, for Kincaid. I always throw Kincaid's name out there because I'm going to keep throwing Kincaid's name out there. Kincaid is going to be a starter in the league. He's a goalie of the future. Damn it, it's the Kevin Weeks jinx. And I use that because Kevin Weeks was the goalie of the future for Florida. Then he went to Vancouver and he was goalie of the future there. Went to Carolina, and I read the same term used for him in Carolina. Carolina views him as the goalie of the future. I think Tampa, like everywhere he went, he was goalie of the future. And then I started noticing this trend that I would see in an annual or a yearbook, goalie of the future, and nothing. Justin Pogge is a good example for Toronto. Goalie of the future. Nope. So I didn't mean to jinx Kincaid. I hope he gets his shot. I haven't found myself unexpectedly cheering for the Islanders, for the Rangers. Ottawa's one of my 4 core teams that I cheer for anyways. Philly, absolutely. Giroux is so much fun to watch when he's on. And Voracek is such a fantastic passer. And Couturier's finally become the player that I thought he was when they drafted him. And I'd given up on it. Going into this year, I'm like, well, Couturier is never going to turn out to be that top 6 guy. And here he is. Ta-da! So it could be a career year. He might fall back next year. But I think his year-to-year point totals will definitely remain higher than what they'd been. And he's proven himself as a goal scorer, so that's important. I haven't found myself unexpectedly cheering for Pittsburgh at all. San Jose, nope. St. Louis, nope. Tampa, I had expected to cheer for them. Toronto, no. Last year they would have got that check mark. This year, no. Vancouver, no. They're my favorite team. Vegas, no. See, here's the thing. So I cheer for underdogs, and they get the check mark there. But as they've become favorites, I've been cheering for them less. This is part of how I work as a hockey fan, and it makes it unfortunate when the playoffs roll around. I'm always like, let's go underdogs. There's a reason they're underdogs, Shannon. There's a reason. It's because they're not as good as the teams ahead of them. For the most part, that remains true. I mean, yeah, the Kings win the Stanley Cup as a number 8 seed. Nashville goes to the final. But for the most part, the favorites are favorites for a reason. And I found myself unexpectedly cheering on Winnipeg. Coming into this year, yeah, I underestimated what Winnipeg was going to do. I did say last summer I thought Winnipeg was the team that the Central Division feared the most, because if they got goaltending, they were a playoff team. And I had said last year the goaltending just wasn't good enough. That's why they missed the playoffs. And I didn't think adding Steve Mason was going to fix anything. And it didn't. But what happened instead was Hellebuck got better. It's like Hellebuck saw the arrival of Steve Mason and said, wait, you guys are replacing me? Okay, no. So when he got the chance to go in the net, it got better. So every year I'm going to do my favorite teams 1 through 31. It was 1 through 30, but now these guys have to make it an odd number because Vegas reasons. So which teams am I most likely to be cheering for on any given night? That if somebody's sitting with me on the couch, I would cheer for a goal and they'd go, wait, you're cheering for that team? The most surprising would be Anaheim. Anaheim would be number 1 on that list. Yeah, I know. I don't get it either. I'm as uncomfortable with this as Ducks fans. I am just as uncomfortable with this as Ducks fans. It doesn't feel natural, and I assume Kessler's going to score 15 goals in the next 10 games, and I'm going to hate them again. I assume. Number 2 would be Florida. Because I am straight out, I am right on said bandwagon, and I want to see this team succeed. And the empty seats are really depressing. The empty seats in Florida are depressing, and it makes it hard to watch a game in Florida. Number 3 would be Colorado. I cheer for... I never thought I would cheer for Colorado. You kidding me? Back in the Sakic Forsberg days when they were kicking the crap out of the Canucks all the time? I didn't want these guys to win anything. Absolutely didn't want them to win anything. No chance. 4 would be Philly. And again, Philly. I never thought I'd see the day I cheered for Philly. Back in 2010, I hated Philly. You kidding me? Boston had them down 3-0. And Philly came back and won it. And not only that, but those pricks let Boston get a 3-0 lead in Game 7. So I'm at work. The game's in the morning. I'm at work. And somebody comes over and goes, well, Boston, it looks like they avoided the 3-0 comeback. They're ahead 3-0 right now on Philly. And I'm like, oh, thank God. And then that same guy came back about an hour and a half later and goes, yeah, they blew that too. Sorry. Yeah, no, they're out. And I was like, seriously? And I think I yelled and swore at work. So, yeah, the fact that I'm cheering on Philly feels kind of a little weird to me. Just a little bit. And if I had to go with the number 5 for people being surprised, it'd probably be Arizona. over the last 20 games, hell yeah, Arizona, they're playing really well. This is a team that is undermanned, and they don't have as much talent as teams they're against, and they don't care. They've been winning these games. So when I was talking about them being 31st in the power rankings, they just don't have the talent to get ahead. I still think talent, overall, like top-tier talent, is an issue, but just the work ethic is there, and that's the thing. Work ethic can help you overcome not having that Sidney Crosby-type player. Work ethic and a system can help you overcome a lot of things. Look at Vegas. So, yeah, those are the 5 that people, I think, would be surprised if they sat and watched a hockey game with me. They'd say, "Well, you're cheering for, really? Seriously?" So, and in terms of my favorites and least favorites, it sort of is what it is. And these pluses don't mean that it's any different. For instance, Boston has 2, Dallas has 1, Vancouver has 1, because I already cheered for them. Ottawa has 1. But I think if I had to, and let's just go ahead and let's see if I can erase these without knocking all the magnets all over the place. And for anybody, and somebody asked this on video, and there's a lot of newer subscribers, so I'm going to throw this out there. When you ask where I got these magnets all started out as stickers that I bought or had sent to me in the Vegas case. And I turned them into magnets, except the Vegas ones that were magnets when I got them. You just take stickers and you throw them on a piece of cardboard. You cut them out. You can double up the cardboard. And if you double up, why do I suddenly feel like I should be, and a little tree here, and then the tree, anyway. Bob Ross takes over. Happy little bush, happy little bush. All happiness, there's birds. There's birds. Those birds, they're birds. But yeah, so you get 1 or 2 layers of cardboard, and this one's actually just 1 layer of cardboard, but there's a bunch of magnets on the back. You can tell when my wife does them because she tries to cover the entire back, and when I do them, I just go, yeah, that's good enough, and that's done. So yeah, when I do them, it's just, that's the difference. So that's where we get our magnets. Okay, so teams that are out of the playoffs right now, that looking right now, and I say, you know what, next year should be a really good year for them. Arizona's coming up. Buffalo will come up. Here's why. Because they're going to get another good draft pick. And this year's draft should have some NHL-ready players. And by some, I mean probably the top 10 should have, I would say, probably 6 or 7 that should be NHL-ready. Like, guys are more ready now than they used to be. So, Buffalo, if they add another forward, defenseman, whatever they add, it's going to make them better. And Casey Middlestad's coming in. Yeah, there's reasons to believe. I'm not putting one under Carolina because they burned me this year. I hope they do. I do. And this is for next year. Edmonton, because Connor McDavid isn't going to be languishing on a bottom team. It's not going to happen. Florida, I think, is for real. And I think if they miss the playoffs, again, because it's a good draft, if they draft if they win the draft lottery, then fantastic. I don't see Montreal bouncing back. The Islanders, it's too early to tell. Josh Bailey's having a career year. Tavares, there's no sign right now in my eyes that Tavares is staying or going. He's saying all the right things, but who knows? The Rangers, I think, will bounce back. I do. Ottawa can, because Ottawa usually does. Even when we all write them off, Ottawa usually does. If St. Louis misses the playoffs, they'll be favored for a bounce back. Vancouver will get better. Won't make the playoffs next year, I don't think. Yeah. And you know the funny thing? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams that I think could make the playoffs next year. That's probably about what it's going to be. So there you go. That's how my hockey fandom's evolved this year. And what's making me pull for or not pull for certain teams. And then there's the ones that I naturally don't like. If your team plays in California, I have a natural dislike for them because they beat the Canucks a lot. And traditionally, like, the Kings knocked the Canucks out of the playoffs a few times. Most notably in 1993, when I thought the Canucks had a pretty good shot at going all the way, and then Gretzky and the Kings took them out. Montreal, there's natural rivalry with Boston. I just don't like Montreal. You're not allowed, as a Boston fan, to be in the union with other Boston fans. You have to not cheer for Montreal. It's just required. And And yeah, other than that, teams I hate, I don't. I really don't. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you've evolved as a fan this year. Which team surprised you in a good way, and which one you find yourself rooting for that at the start of the year you're like, wait, no, wait, back up. Why? How am I cheering for this team? How is this happening? This isn't right. And that's the reaction I have when I cheer for an Anaheim goal. It feels unnatural. I feel dirty, and it's not right on some level. So let me know what team makes you feel that way when you see them score this year and you're like, yay! Wait, no. I didn't just cheer for a goal by that team. That's how I evolve as a fan. My top three are always going to be my top three. So 1, Vancouver, 2, Boston, 3, Dallas. It would take something horrendous taking place with any of these organizations for me to say I can't cheer for this team anymore. And I mean the organization themselves, it would have to be something heinous and awful for me to say, yeah, and it's not about players on the ice, it's not about being worst team in the league or any of that crap. Just, it would have to be something really bad. Like a really bad person owning a team, that kind of thing. Or an owner just running the team into the ground and pocketing the profits. Which reminds me, number 4 on that list and pretty entrenched is Ottawa. And I have no reason for having put that 4 beside Ottawa with the previous statement. Thank you very much for watching. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video while scrolling around the internet. And yeah, let me know your picks. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.